Well, the funny thing is, if you look at the early work and you look at a brand new painting, if you take it step by step over the 40 years I've been doing it, there's a real logical lineage to it. I don't just decide, say for instance, to make a geometric painting like these. These are multiple panel paintings that are based on the structure of the stretcher bars, and the image derives from the structure. And in a sense, that's the same thing the tree branch paintings were. The image derives from the structure, which was the tree branches. If I drew those images, those stick images, they would have been kind of dumb drawings, but the fact that the line was the drawing and the structure, it justified the imagery. And what I think I'm trying to do, I mean, art's a real funny, elusive thing. I am trying to figure out how to make a valid painting that I appreciate, and without sounding corny, you make stuff, and that stuff that you make has to be good enough that it sort of has a life of its own, that people respond to it. I can talk to you and explain to you why I'm doing stuff and maybe make you appreciate or like the work better, but the truth is I'm not going to be around forever. So you make these objects or whatever you do, and that thing that you do goes out in the world, which is a tough, nasty, big place, we all know. And if that thing can survive, then you've done your job well, whatever that is. It's trying to describe art. I mean, I'm dumber and more naive now than I was 30 years ago. I'm very humbled by the whole thing. I know exactly what I'm doing, but I'm, in a funny way, I'm humbled by it and don't know what I'm doing. It's just a funny thing to choose to do with your life. It's like I have two children, they're now both in college, and I haven't encouraged them or want them to be artists. My wife's a writer. She doesn't want them to be writers either, because this is the kind of thing you do, and there is no guarantee, nobody tells you or lays out for you, is it good, is it bad? You can't really evaluate. And so, you know, you're just doing this thing that you do. And for a guy like me, you know, whatever it was, 40 years ago, I did something which made sense to me in some weird way. And in that thing, I saw possibilities or how to develop that, whatever it is. And so you sort of follow that. And the work itself becomes a reality of its own. So what I do is I follow the work. The work and the process I'm doing leads me into the next step. So everything I do, I couldn't have done it without the history of everything I've done up to this point. And anyway, so it's not any different now than it was then. It may appear differently, but what I'm doing is pursuing a personal vision or feeling and a discipline I have about myself. And for me, I don't describe art as that painting. I don't point to the paintings as art. To me, the art is actually what you can accomplish during the time you have on the planet. The thing that makes art unique is that a person chooses to do something. They dedicate themselves to that, and they create that story of their life. When you die, that's the end of the story. The thing that makes painting and sculpture or art really unique and valuable to me is that it's an example of what somebody can accomplish in a lifetime. It's like when Picasso was still alive in the late years, everybody was really worried because they didn't like his new work, and he was so prolific. My God, you know, he's making a fool of himself. Because the shift of, you know, art is subject to fashion and stuff, so the shift of what people were interested in was not what Picasso was doing. Well, the interesting thing is Picasso died, and he left behind this huge body of work. Now, in retrospect, you go back and look at it, and it's really kind of wonderful. Picasso was such a freak. He actually painted, when he painted paintings, he dated them to the day that he made them, which is really interesting, because you could go back and find out exactly what Picasso was doing, in a sense, thinking what his life was about and what was important to him, say April 12th, 1957, because you could go back and see it. And you can look at what he was doing, say 20 or 30 years, you know, before that or later, and see what this person, this being, was interested in doing. The thing that makes art really valuable to me, say more than diamonds, for instance, I mean, you could be out digging in your backyard tomorrow and uncover a diamond this big. You know, and there could be billions of them because it's made from nature. So it's unlimited and it goes on and on and on. There will never be another Picasso painted. And so to see what this person could do in a lifetime is really impressive if you value art and the uniqueness of what human beings are, that we can do things that, you know, that animals don't, because animals are only involved in survival, and, you know, they don't have the luxury of this freedom of imagination that we have.
So Chuck, how would you describe yourself in one word?
I would just like to be remembered as a respected artist, that the work that other people that try to make art, what the ultimate compliment to me is when your peer group acknowledges you, you know, or people that really do care about art and stuff, because the truth is you don't really know, you know, how good you are, and I think all true artists, because you're absorbed in what you're doing, it can change day to day, hour by hour. You can be totally sure and then unsure, and so you sort of need some feedback. So I just like to think that what I did had some impact on other people, and that they thought that I did a good job.